我想，关于人权的概念，中国的孟子所讲的“民为贵，社稷次之，君为轻”，那他讲人权比法国的卢梭和美国的人权宣言要早得多了。
In terms of the human rights concept, the Mencius, who lived in a period more than 2,000 years ago in China, he stated that people are the most important and the most precious, while the state is next to that, and the emperor or the kings are the least important. So that kind of thoughts were much earlier than than Rousseau of France and then the Human Rights Declaration of France.
我想，不但人权的概念有历史的发展，而且每个国家也有不同的情况。像我们跟美国，国民收入人均的国民收入差了20倍。中国人民的大学生的比例大概从美国美国人民的大学生的比例比我们中国的文盲的比例还要大，文盲加这个小学生的比例还要大。这样不同的文化程度，不同的国民收入，我想他们对人权的概念也是不一样的。如果跟一个很贫困的人民来谈什么直接选举，恐怕他们更关心的人权的其他的方面，比如说受教育的权利、生存和发展的权利、享受文化娱乐卫生的权利。我想人权应该包括这么多的方面。
And also, different countries have different conditions, and the human rights actually is also a concept that has evolved in history. In terms of the per capita income, the per capita income of the United States is 20 times that of China. And also in terms of the education, the ratio of university graduates in the United States in its total population is higher than the ratio of the illiterate people plus the primary school graduates to the total population in China. So given such different levels of education and also the income, it's natural that people may have different concepts of human rights. For instance, if you want to talk about human rights to a very poor person, maybe what he is more interested in is if you want to just talk to him about direct election, but maybe that's not what he is most interested in. What he is interested in most is the other aspects of human rights, such as the right to education, the right to subsistence, the right to development, the right to a cultural life, and the right to the medical care, health care. So I think the human rights actually include so many aspects.
是，美国国家都有他自己的办法来改善人权，着急是不行的。说老实话，我比你们还着急得多啊！怎么改善中国的人权的状况？
So I think every country has its own approach in improving its human rights. One should not be too impatient, but to tell the truth, I'm more impatient than you are in how to further constantly improve the human rights in China.
第三，我承认我们的人权的工作是有缺点的。
Thirdly, I concede that there is room for improvement in human rights conditions in China.
因为你们要考虑到中国有几千年的封建的枷锁，人们的观念是很难改变的。我们的法治队伍的教育程度和他们的判案的能力也是有限制的。在这种情况底下，要把人权工作做得十分的完美，那是不现实的。
As you may know, China has a history of several thousand years of a feudal system, feudal society. So people have very deep-rooted concepts influenced by this historical background. It's quite difficult to change such a mentality or concept overnight. And also in China, in the legal workers, the people working in the legal and the judicial field, some of them are not that qualified, are not that competent. So sometimes in dealing with certain cases, they need to improve their work. So under such conditions, it's really not realistic to demand a very perfect practice in the human rights field.
所以我们很愿意听取你们的意见，我们愿意有一个渠道来对话，我们不要对抗。
So we are willing to listen to you, and we are willing to have channels of dialogue on human rights questions. We don't want to stage a confrontation in this regard.
当你们访问美国的时候，都有人给我一个名单，让我要释放这些所谓的叫什么不同政见者。
Actually, in China, when I received some foreign visitors, they tend to put forward a list of so-called dissidents and ask me to release these people.
我们对你们的意见，我们都是认真的对待，仔细的查考。如果这个人没有刑事犯罪的话，我们就把他释放。
Well, actually, we took this matter very seriously, and we have looked into all these cases. And if we found that the person on the list has not committed any criminal offenses, then we will just release him.
这一次我来美国以前，我有很多美国的朋友，有寄给了我很多材料，指出美国的人权存在着很多的问题，让我把这个信件递交给克林顿总统，我没有带来。
Well, before I came to the United States, I received many of my friends mailed me a lot of materials in which they contain a lot of information about the problems of human rights in the United States, and they urged me to bring such materials to President Clinton, but I haven't brought them with me.
我不想交给他，因为你们能够自己解决问题嘛。
I don't want to hand that over to President Clinton because I trust you are able to resolve your own problems.
Actually, sometimes we could use a little outside help too.
说实话，有时候我们可以请外面的人来帮忙解决问题。
Let me say, first of all, in response to the question you raised, I read the New York Times article today. And while I can't comment on specific intelligence reports as a matter of policy, I noted that even the article acknowledged that the alleged espionage might not have been connected to the national labs, which is the question I was asked in the press conference. But let me say, I've looked into it, and we're doing our best to resolve all outstanding questions, and I've asked the law enforcement agencies to try to accelerate their inquiries insofar as they can. The real issue is, and one that we made perfectly clear last week, is that for quite a long while, from the 80s, coming right up through the time I became president, the security at the labs was inadequate. And I think it grew out of partly the kind of dual culture of the labs, part of the great centers of science and learning, and they've done a lot of path-breaking work in energy and alternative sources of energy and computer processing and the use of software for all kinds of very important non-defense matters while maintaining their responsibilities in the nuclear area. And to me, the most important thing of all now, besides finishing the investigations in an appropriate way, is making sure we get the security right. You know that I signed that executive order in early 1998. You know what Secretary Richardson has done recently. And I have also asked the President's Foreign Intelligence Advisory Board, Chairman Senator Rudman, to have a bipartisan panel to look into what we have done and to tell us if we haven't done enough and what else we ought to do. So I think the most important thing now is to recognize that for quite a long while, the security at the labs was not adequate, that we have been moving to do a lot of things in the last year plus, that we have much more to do, perhaps, and we ask somebody to look into it. And then to do these investigations and do them right and do them as quickly as possible.
因为这个纽约时报的问题我也看过了这是第一点。但是至于具体的情报，因为政策的原因我不能加评论。但是那篇文章呢，它就是说那些国家实验室和这个间谍活动到底有什么关系呢？也没说清楚。我也希望有关方面的人士会去调查这个问题，而且我希望我们能够尽快解决这些悬而未决的问题。因为这些我也希望执法机构和单位能够加快它的调查，因为这个问题呢，长久以来呢，就是有。
You didn't do anything wrong. We're just all having fun. Go ahead.
长久以来，国家实验室就是真的有这么一个安全不足的问题，安全措施搞得不足的问题。因为他们长久以来有一种就是双重文化，一方面他们是科学学习的中心，搞能源的发展，搞电脑的处理，搞软件的开发，但是与此同时呢，他们也承担了和科学方面的责任。所以对我来讲，最重要的问题是要把我们的安全搞好。我呢，在1998年签署了行政的命令，然后那个Richardson部长也采取了有关措施。我也吩咐一个咨询委员会，一个不分党派的双党的咨询委员会去调查这个问题，看我们到底有哪些不足之处。因为真的长久以来，这些国家实验室面临这个安全措施搞得不够严密的问题。我认为这个问题我们应该加以调查，而且我觉得应该正确的做调查，应该尽快把它做完。